Hello, YouTube. We're gonna try this a second time, hopefully with the volume up. For those of you who managed to get through my last very quiet update, basically the same stuff here, so don't worry about watching it again. I realized that the reason that was so quiet wasn't just a weird, like, post-production thing, because the rookie video editor didn't know what she was doing. I had turned the volume way down on OBS, so it was recording at, I don't know, like 1/16 of normal volume, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it, but again, doesn't know how to video edit, working real hard. So, here we go on the continued learning evolution of this whole nonsensical thing. We're trying this again. So, I guess this is October update. Can I call it 2? Is it 1 point? It's probably more like 1.5. So, October update 1.5. Welcome to me talking to a camera. I wanted to pop in here and just say stuff on camera to keep myself honest, because if I don't have people banging on behind me, I was gonna say harping at me, but that's a little harsh maybe. If they don't have people holding me accountable, I don't do anything. One of the joys of attention deficit. So I got all prettied up today. Okay, really, I got prettied up to go into work this morning, but I'm wearing glitter still to try to distract from the chin acne. Which, you know, when you're wearing a mask isn't quite as obvious. But anyway, this is me trying to stay accountable. So, at this point, things I am working on for the state of the thread, I think is what I was calling it. Things I am working on. Currently, first project, and luckily this time I know I can put the pictures in here. Here is a picture of a partially done Victorian bathing suit. One of my ultimate, like, way far down the line goals in running a YouTube station is not just talking to you and talking to myself, but to kick the door in on Costube and be like, hi, I am the fat girl wearing all the stuff that you guys are wearing too, and I made it. Because there isn't much body diversity in a lot of Costube at this point, and so I want to sort of push the envelope there a little. So here you're staring at the Victorian swimsuit I'm in the process of making. When the picture was taken, I didn't have the legs sewn on. I think I had just put the sleeves on. It doesn't have the collar. It looks a lot like some of those horrible 1980s maternity sailor dresses that Princess Diana wore. At this point, it has a collar. It has its legs sewn up, it has a skirt that goes with it. The things that I need to finish are putting the trim on the legs and hemming the legs. And then I think I am going to try to make a hat that goes with it. A lot of times there were mob cap sort of things that got worn with those, but I found a couple of a couple of pictures that are slightly earlier than this swimsuit. This one should come in sort of around 1890. I found a couple images that are, I think, 1870 that are sort of little turbans with brims, and I think I'm going to try to make one of those. So stay tuned on that. If and when I get to that, because this is going to be my Halloween costume, I will try to stream at least parts of it and or take videos of the rest. The second big thing I'm working on, if you follow me on Instagram, you have seen bits of already. I decided that since I quit the Society for Creative Anachronism and don't have to stay pre-1600, what am I gonna do but run 100 years later? 100 years? 200 years later. Almost 200 years later. And make myself a set of 18th century stays. And me being me, I wasn't just gonna make them, I was gonna hand sew them. So here's a picture of the fabric and the thread I'm using, because who doesn't like a good contrast thread? And I've got the pattern worked out. I tried the pattern on the dress form that looks a lot like me, which, boy, is it shocking to see the dress form that looks exactly like you and be like, oh, that's how my butt works. I did a second mock-up, second fitting, got it where I wanted it. Hopefully I've got fitting photos in here. They were fighting me in the last video, but got the fitting there. I cut all of the fabric, and I think I have at this point 4 of the panels completely together with the stay channels. I'm going to be boning them in. I was going to see if I could turn around and pick it up. Reed, because it's cheap, as am I. And I know that German whalebone is something a lot of people use. I wanted to use reed because you could get more of it for less. And other people that I talked to who are bigger girls had a decent time using this as opposed to the plastic stuff. I have bent not stays, but I have bent like bones in things before, both plastic and steel. And as I talked to folks who had worked with the reed, they were saying, oh, it molds to you. Like, the plastic does a pretty good job of it, but if you're doing fully bone stays and you're a big person and you tend to be sort of humid, which, like, I am a humid individual, the reed should do you fine. So, I'm gonna use that to bone. We'll keep you updated as I get there. I've been trying to take videos of all of those processes all the way through to make sort of an overview video of that eventually. So that was the second big project. Third big project is at some point in the past, I bought 5-ish yards of purple llama print flannel saying, oh, I'm gonna make a bathrobe. I haven't made a bathrobe yet. And then I saw this pattern. And I looked at this pattern and said, that needs to be a purple llama print 1950s house robe for me. Because who doesn't need one of those? So I did a little bit of poking around, found sort of the back of the pattern envelope, and decided that yes, the llama print is going to become a 1950s basically house robe for me. I'm going to probably drape a fair amount of it, which again I'm going to try to do on video. I'm going to try to catch video steps of all of this and at least give you sort of a like speed through with some voiceover so you can see what I'm in the middle of. But that's the third big project, is ridiculous llama print house coat. Why not? So those are kind of the physical projects. When we get to the mentally projects, there are 3 of those as well. I seem to be working in 3s this month. First project there in the Thinky projects, the Tutu book, which is going to sort of hover over me like a glow cloud. I'm not saying it's a storm cloud. I'm going to give it glow cloud because you're not sure whether it's good or bad. But the Tutu book that's going to hover over me until I either write it, die, or give the idea to someone else, or someone else writes one first. I've applied for a couple of grants to do work on that. The sad thing is that with the world the way it is, I want to go visit a lot of places, and that's not going to happen right now. Me digging around in someone else's ballet stock really isn't going to happen right now. So that one is, I'm not going to say totally on hold, but closer to hold than the other couple. The second big Thinky project that I'm working on is an overview. I haven't quite figured out how to pitch this one yet because it's newer, but it is sort of an exploration of the fabrics that we wear outdoors, why we wear them, how they evolved, how they came to be, all of that sort of stuff. And of course, this idea hit me as I was hiking. So I'm thinking about, when did we go from wearing jeans hiking to, oh no, cotton kills, you have to wear polyester wick-away or something like that. So I'm going back through a bunch of old documents and books on hiking and books on walking and talking to the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts and saying, send me any documentation you've got on when these changes happen. Looking at when did Gore-Tex start, who started Gore-Tex. Eventually I want to get in touch with like REI and Columbia Sportswear and all of those sort of northwesty outdoorsy places and be like, give me your corporate history. Like, take me to your historian. Because I'm interested in basically the evolution of what we wear sort of perambulating outside. I'm trying to keep it more or less into kind of hiking and backpacking. So really we're going out walking in the woods, and I'm looking specifically at clothes, not necessarily gear. But if you have any resources on that one, throw them at me. If you have any resources at any of these, throw them at me. And the third project, which is the one that I just sort of realized might need to be a project, it's even more amorphous than the last one. And really, this is the vanity project for how I would like to spend my summers. There are a lot of records of sailors sewing. So, like, tall ship sailors and sailors on whaleboats and, like, Civil War Navy sailors. There's a whole couple of displays that I've seen of Civil War embroidery on sailor uniforms. I know Mystic has a big, like, folk art of the sea and the sailor exhibit up right now. So there's a lot of evidence that sailors sewed, and there's a lot of reference to the fact that sailors sewed, but I've never found sort of a standalone, this is what it was, how they learned, what they mostly did, sort of documented through the ages sort of book. It may be out there. I haven't found it yet. And most of the information that I would put in it, I have only found in fragments. So at this point, I'm looking at, do I just kind of collect all that information, collate it, and send it to someone to print? Or do I want this to be sort of more in the vein of like a Janet Arnoldy thing where it's, this is what we have record of, this is how it went together, these are the stitches they used, this is, a layout of exactly what the sizes and everything sort of were. So at this point on that, I am just collecting information. But again, if you're one of the maritime people that happens to follow me, hit me up, give me your resources on sailors and sewing. And I say this as a vanity project for what I want to do over the summers, because I figure if I'm working on this, I might be able to sucker one of the boats like the Friendship of Salem or the Lynx or someone like that into bringing me on as an educator / sort of display monkey if I can sit there and sew. Part of it's also vanity because I want to talk to sailmakers, because that sort of, not industrial level sewing, but sort of giant scale sewing fascinates me and always has. I think that's all I covered in the last video with no sound. I think that's all I need to cover in this one. Like I said at the beginning, I'm doing this to try to keep myself on track, to try to keep myself honest, so folks are asking, how about that thing you said you were working on? And I have to have made progress, or I have to just go, oh, I didn't do it. And it sucks to say, oh, I didn't do it. So I'm trying to keep myself from having to do that. If you're interested, do all that, like, YouTube-y, clicky, followy, subscribe-y stuff here. I'm going to try to do one of these every couple weeks, maybe every month. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how quickly I can learn to edit and turn the freaking volume up. There'll be other things that pop up on my YouTube channel. I know I'm about to teach a patterning and draping and how to read patterns class that will probably at least partially wind up on the YouTube channel. So if you're a beginning sewer and interested in that, feel free to hang out and watch that as well. If you're at all interested in supporting me, I'll leave the link to my Ko-Fi down below. Someday there might be a Patreon. I haven't quite figured what I can give people as a Patreon other than, early access to, like, all of this lovely. So I'm still working on that, but Ko-Fi, if you really love me, you can pitch me a couple of bucks. Otherwise, follow me on Instagram, still at Threadwrite. You can follow me on Twitter, also at Threadwrite, but that tends to be a little more like blah, blah, blah. Twitter is what you get when I'm either just waking up or just falling asleep or being angry at something and having an opinion. So if you want that, there's your spot. Other than that, though, stay tuned. I'm talking to the camera the way my sort of mentor told me to, and we'll do some more of it later. Thanks so much for hanging in, guys.